What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the All Things NBA podcast from A to Z, presented by Ballislife.com. I'm Kris Pursiainen. I'm here alongside Zach Noble. And today, a momentous occasion in podcast history. We're coming up on 50 all-time episodes, but we're now at one active NBA player on the show. That is thanks to Jonathan Isaac, or the Orlando Magic, the 2017 sixth overall pick, still stuffing your favorite player's dunks at the rim. J.I., our guy, how are you, man? What's going on?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Orlando, man, you guys got a little bit of a different look. Let's start there. What's it been like being back in the grind of another season? Some new faces, some old faces. How's this year going so far for you, man?
Man, it's been a whirlwind, honestly. We obviously felt really, really strong coming out of the gate. Paolo's feeling good, Franz is doing good. Everybody's kind of feeling excited about what we have. We add KCP. And so we're like, yo, but this is our year to, we're gonna do great. We're gonna go take it. And then out of nowhere, Paolo goes down, after having a great start to the season. And so we definitely were rattled for a little bit of like, okay, we need to assume kind of a different identity, at least while he's out. And we dropped a couple in a row just from that experience of being like, okay, we don't how are we gonna play? And I think over the last couple, we just rattled off four straight just because we're like kind of calming down a little bit and figuring it out. And so guys are filling in, Franz is stepping up big time, and other guys are playing really well, Goga. And so it's been a good start to the season. So to lose our best player for weeks and to be third in the East is we're in a good place right now.
So what's that initial conversation like, man, in the locker room after Paulo goes down? I mean, is it just business as usual, or is it, I mean, this guy's got to step up.
I
J.I.,
was
you're
gonna
coming in
say
more.
I have a three-word
Defense,
guess.
Yeah, no,
defense time to
honestly,
lock in.
yeah, no, I mean, it kind of has to be business as usual to keep the boat afloat, but everybody's thinking the same thing of like, okay, what are we going to look like, without him on the floor? And are we going to be good? Like, it is what we're going to be able to produce now, specifically because we had a way to play. Like, right, you're going into the season, training camp, he's available. So we're all, obviously it's going through him. And so we're figuring that out. And then to just kind of pull that piece out and we got a game tomorrow. Okay, how are we going to play now? So I think from just an objective standpoint, it was very much like, oh yeah, next man up, we're gonna step up and do it. But at the same time, it took a kind of a learning curve of like, okay, we got to figure out how to play, how to score, how to kind of settle ourselves, and we were able to figure it out here late.
Next man up was my three-word guess. That
Right.
was that, like you said, for the sake of keeping the boat afloat, you got to power on. You got to keep going, chopping wood. I want to ask you about another specific part of this adversity you guys are facing this season, but also a little more generally too. Coach Mosley, man, you have been working with him now for a little bit, and the injury to P5 is just another bit of adversity that you guys
Yeah.
have faced together as a team, as a group of players with their coaches. What has stood out to you the most about Jamal Mosley since he was hired to be your head coach, and what's it like working with him?
Yeah, I think from the beginning, I think he's a player's coach. I think I've been with. So if I go back to the beginning, I came in with now I'm gonna
Clifford.
no, it wasn't Cliff. I'm gonna completely. I just saw him the other day. I'm gonna lose his name now.
Yeah.
Golly, what was the original coach of the Magic when I first got there?
Not Vogel. Vogel, right?
Vogel, yes, Vogel, yes,
Yes,
Okay.
there you
Vogel.
go.
I
So
convinced
we
myself
come
it
in,
wasn't him. I should have said it right away. Go on. Sorry.
so I come in the league with Vogel, and Vogel is very much like a what's the right word? Like he's not like this confrontational guy that's yelling, at everybody. He's kind of more laid back and just trying to get the job done. And then so he leaves and we get Steve Clifford, who's the complete opposite. He's like I'm gonna tell you right now exactly how I feel about the way that you're playing, and you have an opportunity to fix it, regardless of how you feel about it. And then he leaves, and now we got Mosley, which I feel like has been the in the middle where it's like, hey, I want you guys to rock out. I want you guys to have an identity as players and to hoop. But at the same time, we have an objective and a goal that we're going for, and we're trying to hold everybody to that standard. And it's been fun to have that duality in a coach where somebody can go to his office and talk to him, but at the same time, he's not going to let the kind of the reins go and everybody just do whatever they want to do. So he's been great. His focus has been great. He's like he works out sometimes harder than we do. when we show up to the gym and we see him getting it in. So he's been awesome, and I think it's paid off with his mentality and the way that he's coached so far.
Zach, you and I talked a lot coming into this season about the Magic, their identity as a team. Ji, what would you say that is? You know,
I mean,
from watching
outside
you
of
guys,
defense, that is.
I was gonna say defense, hungry, intense basketball. How do you feel like you would describe the identity of your team?
Yeah, I would just say we some dogs. Like we have, really good offensive players, and Paolo and Franz have stepped up big time and come into their own. Jalen is coming into his own. But it's always been, from the time that Mosley has stepped up, we get it out the mud. And so we strap up, we lock in. And that's just has been our identity over the last few years. Our offense has fluctuated from being really good at times to being really, really bad at times, but our defense has been what has been consistent. And it's just what Mosley has preached, but at the same time, we just have great defensive guys that take on the challenge night in and night out. And so it's like, look, if we can defend, like last night we held Indiana. Indiana just scored like a 135. We held them to 90 points. And so it's like if we do that, our offense can fluctuate. And we can still put ourselves in opportunity wins. We scored 94. You don't win an NBA basketball game scoring 94 points. And we did last night.
Dude, it's incredible how like defense has kind of gone to a point where we're debating how much it matters in the NBA, but like watching you guys and Cleveland and even Minnesota last year at times, that's all you got to watch to understand the importance of defense in the game, and it really changes come playoff time, which a lot of people forget.
Right.
And yet we're back to that again. A lot of people are bashing the importance of defense once again, but not many people nationwide are tuning into the Orlando Magic, and it's pretty special what you guys are doing. You arguably had your best year last year. I thought, I mean, if you played a few more minutes, you could have been in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. I was a big believer in that. I mean, what is it going to take for you to get more minutes, you think? Now that Paulo is out, I feel like you're
Yeah.
needed. I feel like this is an opportunity for you. Like a guy with your ability on defense, there's no way like you shouldn't be getting 20, 25 minutes a game out.
Yeah, I mean it's starting to round out right now. I think the last two games I kind of crept up into 22 minutes and everything like that. So I'm getting there. Honestly, it's been the process. Like with the injuries that I've sustained, that the team has always been careful about how much I'm playing. Am I playing back to backs the whole nine? So I just played my first back to back of the season just now.
Yep.
And so yeah, so it just comes with it. I understand their mindset. They're like, hey, at the end of the day, we want you for the end of the season more so than the beginning of the season. And so even though I'm like, yo, I recognize myself. I'm like, you know what? I am gassed. I need to, kind of creep myself up to playing more minutes as time goes on. So I just try my best to kind of go with the flow and just let things happen. But I feel good. I think this season,
Good.
my minutes will start creeping up and I'll be on the floor more.
No, you had the Magic timeline buzzing last night, especially with that Wemby block. What's it like blocking that guy? And you've had a block on Giannis and Tatum this year. What's the difference when blocking Wemby at 7'6"? Is there any difference to you? I mean, same point of
Honestly.
entry.
Yeah, honestly, not at all. It's it's
Okay.
it's it's funny. Like I'm not even thinking about it. Like in terms of like, oh, I'm going up to block this person. It's just the reaction of the moment, and it's like, oh shoot, it was a block on Wemby. Cool. I see it after the game on X or whatnot. So I just kind of give my whole intensity to the moment and just play. And a lot of times when I don't get the block, but when I just rely on the instinct and just playing the game, I get them.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's about with all those split second reactions, it might be a
Right.
little bit more about see ball, get ball. Jay, I want to ask you about a million things on the court, but there's one thing I want to ask you about that's off the court, and that's the process you went through with the Orlando Magic this past offseason to restructure your contract and extend the amount of time that you were going to be with the organization. What was that process like for you? I feel like NFL, we see that yearly all across the league, but restructuring of deals not as common in the NBA, but you kind of
Yeah.
blazed that path a little bit there. What was that process like, and what did it mean to you to be able to extend your time in Orlando?
Honestly, the process was pretty simple for me. I left it to my agent and the team to work that out. I recognized that I wasn't in a position to be like, this is what I need or want or anything like that. I'm in full understanding of my process and the time that I've been out and the injuries that I've sustained. So I've always been like, look, I love Orlando. And I met my wife here. My church is here. This is my daughter's home right now. So it's like I want to be here for the long haul, and I want you guys to get it done. And I'm cool with how that plays out, and it played out pretty great. And so I just kind of went with it and looked to move forward.
Dude, that's amazing. I didn't realize a lot has happened since the time we last spoke, and you're married and you got a kid. Congrats
Yep.
on both those things. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I understand you want to call a place home, and you're lucky to be able to do that for so long. Uh, was there ever a point in your career that you felt you've been close to being traded, or you just don't even consider that or think about it, even when you're in the rumors?
Honestly, no. Like early on, what I was hearing all the time was that I was untouchable.
Hell yeah.
Just from the rumblings. Like it wasn't necessarily something I was looking at, but I got to give and show love to the Magic ever since the beginning. They believed in me. The player that I could be, and barring the injuries and everything like that, they still stuck by my side and respect not only the player that I am, but the person that I am, and what I mean to the organization. And so they've always, from the start, my third year in the league, I heard untouchable all the time, not necessarily from them telling me that, but from rumblings that Jonathan is untouchable. And I would get some calls from my agent and stuff like that and be like, this team inquired about you, but, it was shut down and stuff like that. So I'm grateful.
I want to combine these last two questions we asked you, talking a bit about your growth as a person and your time throughout the NBA. I want to take you back, man, to rookie, sophomore JI showing up
Yeah.
to the league, the advice you got from veterans. Now the turns are tabling a little bit.
Right.
You're becoming the vet. Did you see Mello and Rudy Gay pissed on the podcast because players started calling them Unk when they were older, and they were like
I
that.
didn't.
They
Oh,
were
you know
like,
what's crazy? It literally happened to me like two or three games ago.
no, who?
Lively said, "What up, OG?" I
Oh,
was
gee,
like,
okay, that's not as bad as Unk though, man.
but at the same time, I felt it. I said, "Oh, I'm an OG." No,
Yeah.
but I just remember I said, "What up, young fella? How you doing?" We just kept it moving.
Yeah, it kept it rolling.
What's interesting to me is like I don't feel like it because I haven't played that much. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be one thing if being in the league 8 years and having played season, but I've missed three whole seasons out of that eight, and even in the ones that I have played have been minimal. And so it doesn't feel like I'm a veteran in this league and whatnot. Maybe because of my temperament and just who I am personally, it comes off like that some more. But I definitely still feel like I got a lot to prove and basketball to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask like the advice that you got as a rookie, as a sophomore, do you find yourself kind of repeating it now and being like, "Oh, like I sound like that vet I used to have. I sound like that." Or do you find yourself more giving original advice as you again, not to age you, but transition to unk status, man?
Yeah, I would say more original. I think what's interesting is like the more years that you've been in the league, it becomes more natural to even want to give advice. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, coming in, your eyes are kind of wide open and you're looking for people to tell you things. Like tell me anything. Tell me if I'm doing good, bad, encourage me in the different. But now it's like I'm observant and I'm always looking for opportunities to say something. So if it's Tristan, our rookie, what can I say to encourage him? What did he do well? What does he need to work on? Stuff like that. And so I think just as you develop into this unk status, it just becomes more. You become that old dude, the old head on the corner that's always dropping some advice to the young fellas in the neighborhood. Let me holler at you, young fella. Let me put you on some games. That
Let
type
me
of thing.
let me tell you something.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you got hair like that, man, and it's looking prime, you're not looking like Joe Ingles or
Right.
LeBron's hairline anytime
Wow, the
soon.
strays, the
Right.
strays are
Right.
crazy.
But I'm even feeling that shit, young 30s, man. It's going. But that's why you got to just keep it short when you're getting up here. Anyways, good transition to leadership here. So. The point guard situation to me has been pretty fluid for you guys. That's why it's been so awesome to have high IQ guys like yourself,
Right.
Paulo, Franz.
Yep.
Wendell Carter Jr. is a great passer in himself. That's why I honestly think you guys are built to be one of the few teams that without a true point guard and to manage. And I thought this as Paulo was coming in as well. Um, And I've definitely noticed Paulo and Fran's growth, even though they were pretty dang good ball handlers and passers coming into things. But
Yeah.
what's it like without like having a true point guard, you can say? I mean, Jalen Suggs is great, Anthony Black, but they're combo guards a little bit. And I wouldn't necessarily say they're even to the point of like an Alfred Payton you've played with in your career and other guys that are like natural born point guard. So how has that been, or is it just um, something that has worked and is fluid, or
Yeah.
something
So
I'm making a way bigger deal out of that needs to be?
no, I mean, I get it. I think from the player standpoint, it seemed more fluid because it's just like it's the team that we have. So it's not necessarily looking like, hey, we need this, or what would it be like if we had this? It's like you said, especially with the guys that we have. Franz brings it up a ton. P brings it up a ton. Jalen brings it up, the majority of the time, and then you got AB coming into the game. So it's just like it's just rolling with what we have. I do think we be a different dynamic with somebody who's specifically this point guard, but I think P being able to bring it up, get it off the rim and go, Franz being able to bring it, get off the rim, go, it helps our transition and it helps us just kind of get into things. And so I do like that we have that kind of full scoring threat with Jalen, with Franz, with P to be able to go score whenever they want to. And it's not like, hey, my job is literally to just get everybody involved. I do like that. But it'd be interesting to see what it would look like on the other side.
I mean,
Do you notice?
you guys know Cleveland well, right? And they've
Right,
kind of added another wrinkle to their offense this season. Evan Mobley's bringing the ball up the court a good
right,
deal and getting
exactly.
right into that two-man action with DG or right
Right,
into that two-man action with Don. And so seeing the different dimensions, like the NBA has become so aggressively positionless and all about spacing these last few years, but there's still something to not trying to over obsess with any one aspect of the game. Like Tom
right.
Thibodeau says this all the time, let the game show you what to do. And if y'all are attacking small, big, whatever it is, game will tell you who to give it to. You don't need someone out there with a name tag that says, hello, I am point guard. Like
Right, right, right. And everything has its pros and cons. Like because we have these two forwards that are great with the ball, great passing, and have great size, we propose a problem to other, defenses across the league, just with our size. And then having a guard like a combo guard like Jalen who can be aggressive, shoot the ball, get downhill and score. There are pros and cons to it.
absolutely, man. I want to ask you about Unitas, your brand. I want to give you a
Appreciate
chance
that.
to talk about it because we're in a world, we talked about NBA player podcasts earlier where it feels like a lot of athletes, a lot of guys sitting in their room in front of a microphone with headphones on, have their
Yeah.
own brand, have their own thing to sell you, have their own product. Tell us what makes your brand special, different. I just saw you retweeted someone wearing it. I think it was at Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
No, I love the look too. I love the
appreciate it.
look of it.
Appreciate it, boss. It's been a dope ride, like and something that I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be doing, and just something that I'm taking like one day at a time. Like the way that it came together when I was in the bubble, and I ended up getting injured. I was signed to Nike, and Nike ended up not re-signing me, and I told my pastor about it, and I was like, hey, I don't have a shoe brand. When I come back from this injury, I'll probably go to Adidas or somebody like that. I remember Adidas, courted me when I first got into the league. And he was like, start your own. And I was like, I don't know if that's possible. And he was like, why not find out? And sure enough, things just started to fall into place. And I started reaching out to different people and we started to build this team. And it was like, what if we could have a mainstream sports and apparel company that was geared towards encouraging Christians across the world, believers to stand up for what they believe in and really just encourage themselves with scripture on the sneakers, scripture on the clothes. And it's just turned out to be something that's blown up and has been really, really good in terms of getting that message and that mission across. And so it's been awesome. We started with the Judo 1 high top, did really, really well. Then we jumped to the Judo 1 low tops, working on the Judo 2 right now. And also we just dropped our first trainer, kind of lifestyle trainer, which is called the Fortra. And it's been doing really well as well.
That's amazing, man. And especially as a Christian man myself, I mean, you've been amazing for the community and just sports and Christianity as a whole. What was your involvement directly? I mean, are you just designing? Are you helping design things? Are you just approving, or are you involved in almost every decision throughout the company?
Yeah, I say it almost every decision. It's hard. It's like your baby, man. It's hard to kind of take a step back and let, people do things. But we do have, we have a president, we have a COO, we have people that are in position, but I'm still like, hey, yeah, tell me everything. I'm checking everything, on a daily basis and making
Did
sure
you
everything
did you
is
try those with orange laces? Did you try did you do blue? Did you do black?
right, right, right. So, I'm on the design side. I'm on the, hey, let's drop this kind of t-shirt next and stuff like that. But I still, try my best to let people do what they do, especially during the season too. Now I'm not as involved. They're running things on a daily basis, and it's been good. Definitely some learning curves and a lot to learn stepping into the business world. But I think it's cool just as a whole of like being an NBA basketball player, and we're so used to kind of outsourcing everything in terms of like, hey, this brand is going to sign me, this person is going to do this, but to kind of trailblaze the path of doing it yourself, and building that team and working through it has been really cool.
No, I
Bro,
can't think of too
100.
many other brands in sports that are all about Christianity and pushing the movement and just being awesome for that. Honestly, I don't know like how to frame this question, but I've been noticing this over the last few months watching the NFL and college football even like throughout my entire life I've seen athletes dedicate their performances to Jesus and God and that being at the forefront, what have you. But honestly, I was curious if you've noticed it more because honestly, you got Jaden Daniels,
Yeah.
Malik Willis, Lamar Jackson. Every time they talk, the first thing that's coming out of their mouth, CJ Stroud. I mean, it's been amazing and awesome. To see, but like I haven't seen it like this prevalent before, and I've been watching sports religiously my whole life. And to see it at this
Pun
level,
intended. Pun intended.
yeah, exactly, man. But Russell Wilson, he's always been great at it. But Jameis Winston
Yeah, that's
recently,
the first name that I thought of was Jameis.
really,
I
that's
so
great.
vocal right now. I've definitely seen the uptick in it, 1,000%. And I just think that we were definitely in a time that was really, really weird. This kind of, politically and just a lot of stuff going on. And I think that we're kind of sliding into a time of everybody kind of relaxing a little bit. And guys just feeling comfortable being themselves and being free to say, hey, this is who I give the glory to. This is what it's about. It's not about what you're against, it's about what you're for, and just standing on that
Mhm.
and being free to do that. And that's where tolerance comes in. You're free to believe what you want to believe. This is what I believe, and just kind of let the cards fall where they may.
I love that. Has your openness in regards to your faith brought you closer to any other NBA players and the NBA community at all, you think? Or
For sure, for sure. We've got a Zoom call every Thursday with different guys across the league that are believers, and we just come together and talk and share and pray for each other, pray with each other, and just encourage one another. So I've had great conversations with guys across the league, guys checking out the shoes, oh, send me a pair, stuff like that. It's been really cool.
I got one last question for you. I know you've got to run.
No worries.
But this one is silly, unserious, and I gotta ask. The Orlando Magic, man, your guys' social media. I
It's
know
fire.
your guys' social media
Yeah.
is on some other like,
It's
yo,
top tier, bro.
cooking up, right? What is it like in the locker room with that song? Because that song is genuinely catchy as hell. And I sing it on this pod. Like we'll be talking about y'all, and I'll start whispering. I'll be like, Orlando Magic,
Yeah.
Orlando Magic. Like
Yeah. No,
that.
it's,
But
it's it's tough. They killed it with that. We be like, yo, play the song. It's become this whole thing. Like, play
it's
the
like
song
light the
in
beam.
the
Like
room. Right,
play the
exactly.
song. Everyone can sing the song. One person lights the beam. Everyone in the arena singing the song.
After the dubs, they have a player go on center court and start to play the song chat, and we drop it. They just killed it. It's been dope. I think it was Ayo. Ayo was a part of producing that beat and that whole thing. He's a producer out here, and so it was just cool. And I think we've kind of the city has bought into it, and I think the more that we win, the more it's going to get out there. I even got players from other teams. Even some of my friends from that they support other teams, like, yo, I gotta say, yo, y'all theme song is dope.
Josh Hart talks about on the roommates pod with Jalen Brunson sometimes. He's like, that damn song, man. I hate losing, but it is catchy. J.I., man, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on and chat with us today. We really appreciate you. We're basketball nerds, so we love your game, but it was great talking to you as well. Thanks so much, man. Just for the one time, anywhere that you want our listeners to go check out, you want to drop the Unite Us link, you want to drop a book, anything? Where do you want to send the people?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I say just check out my IG. That's where everything kind of lives. But if you want to go to Unitas direct, it is weareunitas.com, UNITUS, weunitas.com. So,
Love it, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thank you.